Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
You know that feeling when your favorite brand really gets you? Deliver that feeling to your customers every time. Memorable moments like these are key to building your business and your brand. Klaviyo turns your customer data into real-time connections across AI-powered email, SMS, and more, making every moment count, so you can continue to build smarter, more meaningful relationships with your customers. Build smarter digital relationships with your customers and make every moment count with Klaviyo. Learn more at klaviyo.com/BFCM.
Oak listeners, you think you know this podcast and the people who run it, but you really haven't lived fixing famous people until the two hosts of this podcast are drunk and watching a July 4th fireworks spectacular in the midst of millions of gays, and the two of us arguing over who hates fireworks displays more. That's the core of the show. That's it. We were trying to fix the fireworks on the 4th.
We sure were. You know, ABC always be closing. We were ABF.
Chris and I and Chris's partner Hassan spent a lovely week in Provincetown. I am still here because I cannot get enough of it, but
you can't leave.
It was delightful. You will be seeing some rather risque snaps from said trip, which we will talk about later on in this broadcast. So gird your loins clitorally, folks, because it's a scandal.
I mean, we had the best time. We got to go to a lot of nice dinners.
Yes.
We got Dominick tucking his shirt into his shorts, which was a monumental situation that I didn't even know existed.
I didn't even know that people understand like the hurdle that was.
You kept walking around and looking into a mirror and going, I'm a different person. I'm a different person. Like you were like, it was truly monumental.
I have been on a bit of a weight loss journey for the past 14 months or so. And this was the moment when I decided not to stretch a shirt and blouse it untucked. And I tucked it in. And I don't know. I looked in the mirror and I said to myself, I'd hit that. So let's do this. Let's absolutely.
It was a revelation.
Let's keep tucking it in.
It was a revelation. And even like as we were walking to tea, like on 4th of July, you turned over your shoulder and went, "Oh, can you see me? I'm right here."
Because from the side, I'm almost invisible now. Aren't I?
A monster was born.
According to the government, I'm still about 60 pounds overweight. So fuck that BMI chart. Good Lord. How humbling. How utterly humbling.
We had the best time. We shopped, so we dropped.
We encourage all of you to join us whenever we're up here. It is just an absolute delight. And watching Chris and Hassan shop, it's like warfare. Like it is truly like the two of you have such like a partner shopping system down. Like, I hate to shop for anything in person. I just only love to shop online.
Oh, I'm the exact opposite.
Oh my God, you guys just have it down. You really do have it down.
I'm like, try this one, do this, here's this one. Like, yeah, we just like throw clothes at each other that we think the other one would like be good for. And we like, yeah, we really do it. It is down to a science.
I am burnt to a crisp. My skin this morning looked truly like a Coach bag. Like,
I'm choosing
something
sun
that
damage
mid-priced as well because it's not even fancy leather. It is just a Coach bag. It's disgusting.
I truly have like sun damage from how much we were in the sun.
I am leaving skin everywhere I go. It is foul. It is foul. I can't even go to a store and try on clothing because everything's peeling. I'm so irresponsible. But
and friend of the pod, Shanaz Petty from our And Just Like That episode came with her 2 sons to have lunch with us the first day we were there.
Yes.
We had the best time.
We had a lovely time. Speaking of our listeners, I don't know how many of you had the opportunity to see our July 4th photo last week assembled by all-star listener Greg Arcade, but he has really just upped the game with his Happy Birthday America post with you and I being, I don't know, what were we, Minutemen or colonialists?
Something like that. I don't know.
Term. What were we?
I don't know. Patriots, young patriots.
Oh, none of these.
Crossing the Delaware or something. I don't know. Something like that.
None of these terms are appealing to me, but we did have a lovely response to it and we thank you.
And of course, we weren't actually Minutemen because you were playing the drums and I was, I think, playing a flute. Like, we weren't actually soldiers. We were like,
what a coincidence.
The band accompanying the soldiers.
Oh, you served in the military? What did you do? Oh, we played the flute.
I played the flute.
That's about as military as I would probably get. No disrespect to our service persons. You know who's been surprisingly not in service during the holiday? It was as almost all of our top tier celebs took the week off from.
They were on vacation too.
Being scandalous. They really took a vacation from page 6, essentially.
Yeah.
That said, we still do have many heavy hitters peeking their heads up out of their prairie hole to remind us that the holiday is over and they are still dysfunctional.
Before we get there, I have a few notes from Hassan to deliver.
Oh, about Provincetown, please.
First and foremost, he's very upset with us that we did not drink not even one Long Island iced tea while we were there.
That is correct.
Secondly,
now, keep in mind, we did drink quite a bit, but just not a Long Island iced tea.
Oh, we drank.
If a Long Island iced tea had been thrown into the mix of this vacation,
we would have. I wouldn't be here today.
It would have been altered.
I wouldn't be here today to tell the tale. Is what would be the truth. He also said he had a great time. That was his second note.
Yep.
And the third note is I just must bring up that he introduced you to a television show that is now your favorite show on television.
I don't believe that I forgot to bring this up. I do not fucking believe it.
He introduced you to a show called none other than BattleBots.
BattleBots.
Which is where people that are at like MIT or like robotics engineering schools and or like real robotics engineers build these like 250-pound robots that battle each other in a arena. And Dominic was watching it as if it was the Super Bowl. I have a video of him going, oh, whoa.
I look like a straight man watching an actual sporting event. Like I morphed. I don't know what happened to me. Hassan was watching the show. Of course, I've heard of BattleBots, but it never was something that appealed to me. We spent one full vacation day binging past seasons of this show, which is available on Max. It has
everything you want,
all the drama and violence of every soap opera you would ever.
That is like a tagline. It's like violence you can be happy about or something like that.
That's an actual tagline of the show.
People that have signs that hold those up, and I'm like, what?
The robot violence is fine, and it is robot cars beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
and it was magical. I cannot believe how into it I have been and continue to be.
They like flip each other in the air like 15 feet and like land on the ground and break into a million pieces. Yes. Like they light each other on fire. Like it is fun.
And violent. I mean, it really is quite violent.
Yes.
Highly recommend. I mean, this is the thing where I hate when I discover a show that was on for a while or a while ago. And I'm about to reach the end of it and have a terrible life afterwards because there's not going to be any BattleBots left.
You also were on the lookout for a gold chain.
I was.
You desperately wanted a gold chain. So we took that as great shoppers, Hassan and I both, we took that upon ourselves to like hunt for a gold chain for you. And you were basically trying on either like Mr. T sized gold chains that were absolutely ridiculous.
I pity the fag. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, or you tried on this chain. I don't even know what to call it. This necklace.
Oh my God, the heart of the ocean.
That had truly the heart of the ocean attached to it. And I have so many photos of you. I need to send you the photos so you can Facetune them to where they're acceptable, because the world needs to see this necklace that you tried on in earnest as if you were going to buy it. And I looked at you
I
like
am still here. That necklace was in the window this morning on my walk, and I still may go and buy it. It was $300 and change. And it is like
a monstrosity.
It is a wrapper replica of the heart of the ocean stone from Titanic. It looks clutterly ridiculous, and even more so on me. It looks like my neck can't even hold this thing.
It's a bike chain. It's a bike chain with like
with a Swarovski, an egg-size light blue Swarovski crystal gem. It looks like Flavor Flav in the Gloria Stewart role in Titanic. It's exactly what it is.
Flavor Flav's version of the heart of the ocean is what it is. And know that we've talked Dominick down. Like, he was like trying on these big gold chains. I was like, no, what are you doing? No. We talked him down to this sensible, beautiful silver chain that he's wearing right now. That is gorgeous.
I haven't taken it off since we
It looks
purchased
amazing. It looks amazing. But know that truly the exact opposite end of the spectrum was what he was trying on, and it was absolutely horrifying.
We're going to do
still might try on and buy.
We're going to do a before and after of what Dominick wanted to buy and what Chris and Hassan made him buy.
Yes, because it is night and day difference.
It's the first piece of jewelry that I think I've ever bought for myself, other than, you know, the many wedding rings I've had to buy through the decades.
Jesus Christ on a cross.
Oh, but you know, some celebrities, as we said earlier, did pipe up this week. We have a few notes, of course. Alec Baldwin, I do not understand how a reality show is starting with him and Cucumber, but jury selection began yesterday for his involuntary manslaughter trial. We have no clarification about whether or not the show is going to be covering the trial.
It has to be.
I mean, it has to, right? It just doesn't feel very family to me. It doesn't. I mean, following this trial will be a completely compelling television show. I am curious to see if TLC is going to do that, or if the Baldwinitos are going to allow that. I mean, they seem like the type to me that wouldn't be like, oh, we have to tell the whole unvarnished truth about our lives. Their life seems pretty varnished from where I'm sitting. So
I know, but
I don't know if they'll do it.
That has to be what they're talking about every single day. No.
What else would they be talking about? Like, when you're accused of manslaughtering someone, I can't imagine that they're doing anything other than talking about that, changing diapers, and possibly exchanging
and if they don't,
salad recipes.
Yeah. And if they skirt by this, like, humongous mistake.
Yeah. Huge.
Because if I find out it's just like her being a mom and him being Alec Baldwin, I'm like, no, thank you. Mm-hmm. If I find out that it's them during this trial, trying to do that, but also the trial is creeping in and they must speak about it,
right,
I'm lining up to my television.
I think it's going to be mostly about her. I think that it feels like a trade-off where she's always wanted to do this, and she's probably like, husband, you got to let us do this to pay the legal bills. We'll put you in the trailer, and then it's going to be me, and you'll come in and grunt once an episode.
I'm fine with her being like, I'm so worried about the trial. Like, I don't need much. That's the other thing. I don't need like him sitting down with his like lawyers being like, what's our strategy? Like, I don't need that. Sure. I need her being like, I need this pending case to be looming and her being nervous.
Sure.
That's great television.
She's not going to give that to you.
I know.
I don't think she's going to give it to you. I mean, we've been talking about this since before we knew there was a show, since you originally pitched this over a year ago. Like, we still haven't. I really
I'm still
can't
there.
wait.
I'm still there. I'm still,
I can't wait.
Like, it's, yeah.
So Ryan Murphy, a new show is announced. I'm not even going to get into all the details of it, but what I am going to tell you is that it is combining the talents of Oscar winner Halle Berry. And
is that her real name?
I have no idea, but it should be Halista Louise Berry, known as Halle Berry. And 200-time nominee, but never Oscar winner, but still one of the most talented women alive, Ms. Glenn Close, is going to be joining Halle Berry in a Ryan Murphy series that is also, again, going to have Kim Kardashian as one of the actors. Why does this offend us so much? Are we just haters?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
It's also just like they just get to do whatever they want. Remember whenever who was it? North was in the Lion King something, and there was that song of her singing and she can't sing, which
At
why
all.
I'm sure she can't, whatever. But it didn't even matter because it was Northwest, so she got to do whatever. And yes, she's a child. I shouldn't be beating up on her, but she got to do whatever she wanted because of who her mom and her dad are.
Sure.
So it's this is just the adult version of that. And I'm sure Kim wasn't terrible in American Horror Story. I'm sure she was fine. It's not that the best acting in the world happens on that show. No offense.
It's not Shakespeare,
involved.
right? It's not. She didn't need Stanislavski to get into character.
No.
I saw a couple of frames, and it was exactly that. It was fine.
And that's what I want it to be anyways. It's funny that she's acting. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, Ryan Murphy just wants to be on the Kardashians, and he just wants her to post about it on her Instagram where she has 17 bajillion.
Sure,
followers.
I get it. I mean, it's a marketing move.
And is she a main character?
I don't
I'm sure
know.
Halle Berry and Glenn Close aren't doing a lot of scene work with
I
Kim.
stopped reading the article. I felt like the email that was sent to me by the Hollywood Reporter was aimed at me because Halle and Glenn were the photos of it, and I opened it up and it was also Kim Kardashian, and I X'd out of it. I was I don't know. Maybe I am a hater. Well, I mean, I am a hater because I co-host a podcast where we fix people. How dare we? But the other thing is that I don't like people who have everything just getting more things. That's just, I guess, what my problem is as a human being.
And if she's a decent, if she's a decent actor, if she's a decent actor, sure. But she doesn't need this.
She doesn't. Don't do something else, man. I don't know. Can you act great? Sure. I mean, I could probably do ballet if I wanted to. I'm going to put people through that.
But this is just as much his fault as it is anyone else's.
Of course.
Yes, we can beat up on Kim, but she's sure, I'll be in your movie, or your show. Duh. Why wouldn't I want to be? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Of course she's going to say yes. I'm looking at Ryan, who will be fixed very soon, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Favorite headline of the week. May I read it to you? It is from the Daily Mail, so obviously everything must be taken with 10 grains of salt. Mystery celebrity who fled Gwyneth Paltrow's Hamptons home after suffering catastrophic diarrhea is revealed, as insiders claim bowel issues were not caused by Ozempic.
I can't.
First of all, God love the Daily Mail for paragraph-length headlines.
Yes.
You sucked me in.
Well, that's the whole P.S. That's the whole story. You don't even need to go read it because nothing else is good, right?
Well, in this case, you do just because it says it's a celebrity who had diarrhea and they are revealed. So then you scroll down and it says the mysteries surrounding the unfortunate guest who lost control of their bowels in a bed at Gwyneth Paltrow's Hamptons home has been solved by insiders who have named the person at the center of the scandal. DailyMail.com can reveal that the culprit behind the mortifying incident is socialite and celebrity hanger-on Derek Blasberg, to which Dominick Pupa responded, "Girl, who?
Yeah.
What are you, who? Fuck you, Daily Mail, with that headline. I wanted it to be Denzel Washington, who shat all over her guest duvet.
Yeah. Or someone, it should have been party goer does this,
right.
You'll never guess who. And it's yes, you're right. I will never guess because I have no fucking idea who this person is.
Fame whoring extra in Hampton's party scene farts in Gwyneth Paltrow's powder room. That's the real story.
You.
He probably didn't even shit his pants.
Thank you.
Apparently, I felt like that was one of the leading stories of the week.
It is. No, it is. It is. And do I need memes of goop? Why are there not people being Gwyneth Paltrow whenever she finds out someone pooped in her house? You know what I mean? I need that from Anna Roisman.
Also,
or our fun, our fun impersonator people.
How are the words goop and poop not in the headline?
Of course.
This is a fail.
Dominic.
Daily Mail. Goop poop mystery solved. I should work.
Why does it not say the goop poop? Why is the goop poop not a thing?
Why isn't
she could sell? She could sell merch that says the goop poop, and we would buy it.
She probably already does. Actually, she probably smells a poop flavored candle, and maybe that's what it was. Maybe no one actually pooped. It was just one of her products gone stale during the party.
gone haywire.
And someone said, "Let's tell everyone Derek Blasberg took a shit in her bed."
And he was like, I'll be the one that shit. Like he has this article framed on his mantle.
He planted the story. He's the one who called it in.
He planted it.
Speaking of headlines, missed opportunities, I read this morning in the Post that Julia Fox, space cadet, actress, model, etc., who does her own eye makeup, that she has come out as a lesbian. Someone put up a TikTok and said, when I see lesbians with their boyfriends, all I think is when I look at them, God, you hate the man standing next to you. And she did a little stitch or whatever it's called. And Julia Fox appeared at the end of that TikTok and said, yep, that was me. I'm gay, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. And that's how she announced it. The point of the story is, I don't understand how the New York Post releases an article with the headline as Julia Fox announces she's gay, rather than just doing the very simple Fox munches box. This was a missed opportunity.
This is another one. I mean, like, good for her. I just like, what is she going to be next? That's, I don't know. It's so hard. This is the thing. I want to trust her. I want to believe her. And not that I believe her. Yes. Do I believe she's a lesbian? Yes. But like, this is just one thing that's like in this hurricane of chaos that she has all the time. Do you know what I mean? Then she's going to, and conveniently, after Pride Month, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
she's like, oh, this will get lost in the sauce of Pride Month, like blah, blah, blah.
You think she waited so it wouldn't get lost? Oh, okay.
Sure did.
Interesting.
Sure did.
Interesting. See, if she had done it like around Memorial Day, she could have been booked for like...
She could have been the Grand Marshal of the parade. Yeah. Wearing like 2 pieces of dental floss taped together.
Little update on our favorite, the Duchess of Schmuckers, also known as Her Formerly Royal Highness Meghan Louise Markle. Meghan has finished shooting the first season of her upcoming Netflix show. Details are scarce about what the show is about. It is not Suits. It is not Suits. Everyone is saying everything went well. They have 2 projects coming up. This one that focuses on her is about apparently cooking and wellness.
Oh, brother.
And they shot this first batch of episodes and everyone seems to be happy. I don't know what happy is in that camp, but obviously I will be setting an alarm for when it turns midnight on whatever day Netflix is going to drop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I love her. In other H and Meg
news,
my
God, Dominick,
what?
Breaking news.
What?
Sent from the one and only Dame Erin Bagwell herself.
What does it say?
She sends me a picture that says alert. And then it's a screenshot of Gypsy Rose Blanchard announcing her pregnancy.
No.
Yes, breaking news right now. I have goosebumps. I have chills all over my body.
Wait, could we be having a paternity moment here? Could the window of opportunity between the ex and the current?
No, don't you drag her down.
I know
to your Maury
Povich personally.
Don't you
I
dare.
will drag his ass out of retirement for this special.
Don't you dare.
Well, I have to put respect on her name.
We have to try to elevate her. I love her. Oh my God.
This is great.
Oh my God.
The real question is, this child, will she grow up and kill Gypsy Rose Blanchard? Will the family tradition continue? Will it happen? Fox Munch's box. We're really going for it today. We're really going for it.
It is.
Wow. Listeners, I wish you could see Chris right now because it is truly as though his own wife has announced her pregnancy.
This is big. No, this is big. This is big.
What is, I mean, I guess I figured it was coming eventually, but.
Oh, God.
Well,
I mean, I would watch anything.
Another generation.
I would watch her just raise this child.
Well, that's good. You know who's fucking thrilled, I'm sure, are the producers of her show because season 2 in a knot, in a bow.
She's not stupid. I'll tell you that much.
No one is.
God. Now I have to go watch that show because now I need to see, like, you know what I mean? I really do need to go watch that now because this show is going on forever now.
Your tectonic plates have moved significantly in the past 2 minutes. I like when something happens when we're actually recording. Dame Erin Bagwell, God bless you for sending that.
She said, I swear I knew you were recording. That's what she said. Because I said, we are filming right now. Like I like all capitals. Like I just like shot off a text. Like you are breaking this to us live. And she was like, I
Gyps. Congrats, Gyps.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Sorry. I interrupted.
Not at all. No.
Meghan Markle's show where she's eventually going to show us the jam. I don't like.
Hopefully. So
do you think it's going to be like a whole branded thing where like every single thing she does is like with her own branded stuff? That's 100% what it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, unless they reverse Megxit, this is how she needs to put her children through school.
It's just crazy. That's going to be so bad.
There was also a report a few days later in the Post that said that Prince Harry is getting a little bit bored with his post-royal lifestyle. Friends are dropping him.
Yeah, no
He's had
shit.
Enough. It's blah, 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 blah.
But also like when you're someone who every inch of your day has been completely scheduled out to the hilt.
Right.
Forever.
Right.
Like normal life to you is like, you're like, what's happening? You're like wandering through like a dream. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so no wonder he's bored. He's like, what do I do now? He's like, my whole life purpose is taken away from me. So now I'm just a person. Like, huh? And like, I don't know how to do anything.
Here's
like,
one
what do
thing
I do?
he's been doing that's caused a little bit of controversy, but ESPN is giving him this Pat Tillman award at the, what is their award show called? The Sporties?
The
Straighties?
Is it the ESPYs? I don't know.
I believe it's the Straighties. At this year's Straighty Awards, he's getting the Pat Tillman honor, which is like given for sports related people who do service and stuff. So Pat Tillman was an NFL player who died when he was in the military, and they had named an award for him. So I guess they were giving it to Prince Harry because of his work with Invictus and his charity work. And I guess Pat Tillman's mother was like, no one consulted me on this. Why the fuck are you giving like a former prince an award named after my son who died in the line of duty?
Yeah, like for the American Army, not like the Queen's Royal Guard. Yeah, like, yeah.
So people are whispering now that
I'll tell you why. It's because they want Meghan and Harry to show up to the ESPYs, so women and us will watch it.
It's why they gave it to Caitlyn Jenner a couple of years ago as well. They were just like, what? Now, obviously, Caitlyn, was an Olympic star at one point, but they weren't giving it like 50 years ago. They were doing it to get people to watch. I mean, if H shows up, I will watch the Straighties. I will absolutely
the Straighties,
or at least that section of it.
That needs to go. That needs to go in the
glossary.
I'm writing that down. The Straighties.
Now everyone is texting us about Gypsy. Right. Everyone's going to shut my phone off. All of the reporters, all of the Klistner reporters.
Rebecca's like, emergency, yes.
Rebecca, 11 texts.
Yeah.
This is
I'm like,
fantastic.
Gypsy, like I'm just sending off texts to everyone, like being like, we know. Because, well, this is the thing. We love all of our guests that come on and our friends, our dear friends, seriously, that all come on because they're like rushing this to us because they know they need us to talk about it today so that it can be on tomorrow's episode. Like that is truly friendship when they are breaking through the text. Like I'm turning my phone off and they're breaking through that to get the message to us.
Because you're also one of these people that's just like, Chris has notification silence. And whenever I send you a text and it says that, I call AT&T and I say, I need to call this number and I want the ringer to be 10 times louder than it normally is on the phone. How dare you? Yeah, Gypsy Rose has really taken over the Pre-Fixe. We just have a couple more things to get through and then a really fun announcement. Kevin Spacey is now doing acting workshops in Armenia. So if you can't get enough from him and you think that he deserves a shot back in the celebutanteness of it all, then go to Armenia because he needs the coins to pay his legal fees because that's what he's doing there now.
Whatever the tweet was that like showed us the picture of it, it was like, this seems like the ending of Tar. And it truly is exactly that. Like
it is that. And there were even less people in the class Kevin Spacey was teaching than the one Lydia was teaching at the end.
Yeah, at least Lydia had like a score of a video game and everyone was dressed up. Right. You know what I mean? That seemed like it was fun.
John Corbett. You know this guy? He played Aiden on Sex and the City in both iterations of it. He gives an interview last week and he's like, yeah, I chose being an actor and it has been completely unfulfilling. What a big fucking mistake. I don't know why I loved it. Like he's been an actor for decades and he's like, I'm just looking back on my life and realize that I wasted a lot of time being an actor.
But also like,
because it's stupid.
I love it. But then also I'm like, you were in the highest grossing rom-com to ever exist.
Yeah.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah.
And you were also in like the second biggest show of all time. Do you know what I mean? Like, are
and
you fucking kidding me?
Wasn't he also in Northern Exposure at one point?
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Was.
But like, oh, and you have a horrible life? Great. Like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
Also, like, they're begging us not to watch And Just Like That. They're begging.
But of course we're going to. Why?
Of course, no. Every single frame, in complete and utter shock and dismay. But I will watch every single frame of it. But like, they are trying to get us to not watch it by doing all these things.
Let's check in with Jennifer Lopez and company before we split. She and Ben spent the holidays. And by the holidays, I mean July 4th and the week apart. She was in the Hamptons. He was in Los Angeles. She's been photographed in the Hamptons walking around with her singing coach. Yes, she has one. And that was it.
The singing coach is who was performing at the Duplex.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We need to get to the singing coach. If we can't get to Linda, we need to get to the singing coach. Like, we have an actual real connection to the singing coach.
You think this person's going to allow us a path to J-Lo after we've repeatedly on this podcast said it's a joke that she has a singing coach?
No, but I just want to touch base. I want to just touch down with him and just be like, hey.
Right. What's up? What's up?
Just what's up?
Girl. Right.
What's up? That's all. Like, honestly, don't even need to bring up J-Lo. Just like, how are you? Like, that would be enough for me.
I'm very excited to say this sentence, even if the final product is something incredibly cringeworthy, but there is a sequel to Devil Wears Prada in the works.
I'm nervous, Dominic.
Of course I'm nervous. I'm nervous the way I'm nervous about anything that I love being sequelized or prequelized. But I got to tell you that Devil Wears Prada is still such cotton candy for me that even a bad version would
the best movie ever
to me.
It's just such a good, everything about it is amazing. Everything.
I cringed when they did an Ab Fab movie. It turned out that I was right to cringe about it. But you know what? Yeah. I've seen it more than once because I love the characters and I want to spend time with them, even if it's in like a subpar.
And this is the thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we're going to see it.
Yep.
We're going to watch it. I mean, we do, at the helm of the movie, there is the most celebrated actor of all time. So it can't be
correct.
Completely terrible.
Correct. We have one final story for you this morning, listeners, before we go into a very special announcement. And these two items are actually related. Chris, can we get a Britney watch from you, please?
Britney watch.
Hey, y'all. So Britney this week on Instagram goes absolutely savage against this ex-boyfriend of hers who I've never heard of. His name's Ronald or Donald. I don't know who the fuck this guy is.
Oh, is this the guy that was driving the car?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she basically blows him up on Instagram and says this guy was going 90 miles an hour through a neighborhood when only one paparazzi was chasing us. And then when the paparazzi came to the side of the car, he actually lowered the window to talk to them and then complained to his mother that he was being harassed for dating a celebrity. Britney did not like this turn of events, announced to the world that she is single as fuck, which I already thought she was. And this guy, I'm sure will probably be at, I don't know, we'll probably see him at an axe throwing bar with Jason Alexander, Kevin Federline soon, or who's the ex-husband, Sam. I mean, this is
Sam. Yeah.
This is becoming like an Elizabeth Taylor list of absolute fuck ups to have in your life.
I think she like comes to, I think Zila goes away and like Britney comes to and is like, wasn't that fucking terrible whenever that guy almost killed me in this car? And then it was all just for paparazzi for me to look crazy. Like, Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, and then she's like, let me post about that. And then like Zila takes back over and it's like, no. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we get these bursts of like clarity where she's like, I'm going to like destroy everyone that's wronged me, which I enjoy very much, as you know, prayer chain forever. But then it's like, we get back to like her being fun or like her naked on the beach or her like in a spa that I desperately want to go to, by the way.
Speaking of the prayer chain and speaking of being naked on the beach.
Well, here we go.
Oh, listeners, here we go. Madonna mia, you're going to absolutely love what we're about to give you.
We've had a long-standing partnership with Wax Cabin Candle Company, as you guys know. We started the Clitorally candles and then gave you the holiday candles. We are now launching, because The prayer chain has ruined Justin Timberlake's career and life. We saw the power of it, and we are now launching the Hey Y'all prayer candle.
Hey, y'all, light me up. We talk about the prayer chain all the time for Brittany. Now you have a candle to light when you're chanting with us, meaning Chris, every day at noon to make sure that Brittany's life improves and that everyone who put her down has their lives destroyed.
Yes. Yeah. If you want to also join her when she destroys these people that are driving these cars and then getting paparazzi photos of her, light that bitch up. We're reimagining the white clitorally candle that we originally released. So if you have a white clitorally candle, you now have a collector's item because they are discontinued.
They are discontinued.
This is the prayer candle. Hey, y'all. They're on sale right now.
The advertisements, which you will see online. I am borderline uncomfortable to tell you that the artwork for this merch involves nude pictures of Chris and I. I wish that I was exaggerating.
We have recreated Brittany's laying down naked on the beach pictures to promote these candles.
Because we want Brittany prayed for. That's why.
Help us with the prayer chain.
If you buy a set of 2, I promise we will never pose nude again. That's the promise I will make to you.
That's a great promise.
If you don't want to be sickened further, buy this.
Yeah, truly. We're using our bodies as
we're all whores, darling.
Blackmail, not in the good way. Yeah. But for real, we are selling them same price as before. They're on waxcabincandlecompany.com. You can Google them or go to our bios in our Instagrams or go to our posts. You'll see them. Like, just fire up the good old Instagram by Meta and you're going to find the candles, or just DM us and we'll send you the link.
You're welcome, world.
They're great candles. JLG, our girl, Jen Lynn, almost Lopez, but from Wax Cabin is the best and also a supermodel. And we are obsessed with her and
beyond.
They're really good candles, for real. I buy them even when they're not my own that I'm promoting on this show. And they're really, really great. And I love them. All soy, really easy burn. And they smell great. And they don't give you a headache. Unlike many other candles.
Okay.
You know?
I've never gotten a headache from a candle before. I
have.
What gay Fantasia you're living in. What sort of candles? Where are these candles that are giving you headaches?
I don't know. They're cheap. That's why. That's the problem.
Well, consider yourselves pre-fixed, folks. We hope you have a lovely week. After this message, we will get into the fix. This week, we are fixing Kesha, who, by the way, we recorded this episode a couple of weeks ago, and we find out today or yesterday that
Kesha,
a
couple days ago,
since we fixed her, that she has released a new song, which we will not reference because we already shot it.
It's actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie to you. And it's like, it's not TikTok or, Blow, but it's like an adult version of that kind of, which I really, really like. And I'm very looking forward to more from her.
So stay tuned for that fix right after this important message. Hope you're enjoying your summer.
Okay, you know him from his podcast, The Number with Darren Kennedy, and being a correspondent on just about everything. Darren Kennedy, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Delighted to be here. What a pleasure. What a joy. What a treat.
Speaking of treats, I want to know this. I want to know, did you pick Kesha specifically, or was she on a list of people that you saw?
So Kesha was on a list. So Chris and I have gone back and forth. We've had a few failed attempts at actually recording because of life and work and whatnot. And then the latest list came in and I was like, okay. And then you added a few people to this list, including Kesha. And I was like, oh, Kesha's an interesting one. I actually was talking to Kesha a little bit earlier on in the year at a party, very briefly, albeit, but she's an interesting one. So that's how we landed on Kesha.
Wow. Well, before we hear every morsel of the incident you just referred to, what we do at the top of our podcast.
The incident.
Yes, we're calling it that until we hear that it's innocent. Until then, it's an incident. We're producing it. We, at the top of this podcast every week, ask our guest and Christopher if they can guess the middle name of the person we are fixing. I will give you the following information. Kesha is Kesha's real biological first name.
Knew that.
Last name, Siebert. She was born in Los Angeles in 1987. She is 37 years of age. What is your guess for Kesha, nay Kesha Siebert's middle name?
I'm going to say Catherine because it's the first name that came to my mind.
Is it Renee?
Interesting. Both interesting and reasonable guesses. This would not have been mine. Kesha's middle name is Rose. Kesha Rose Siebert.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was feeling it's in that family because if you're going to call someone Kesha, you need to give them an out with a fairly simple.
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
they have to have one foot on the ground. Yeah.
I was Catherine or Mary were my bets.
Darren, will you please tell us about this time when you met Kesha earlier this year?
Wait, it was this year?
It was this year. It was a couple of months ago. It was at the Elton John Oscars party in West Hollywood. And I had been filming with David Furnish earlier on that day. I do a strand for a British TV show called Celebrity Closets. And we were delving into Elton's closet and then went to the party that night, which in fairness, I'd been to before. And a friend of my friend Tyler was there. And at one point he's like, oh, come over and meet Kesha. I'm like, who? And he's like, Kesha. I'm like, oh my God, okay. And then I absolutely did not recognize her.
Because she's very brunette now, right? She doesn't look like the Kesha of old.
Do you know what? I think she was blonde then.
Oh.
I think she was blonde, or she was like ombre. But she did not look like I would not have picked her out of the crowd at all. But then, you know what? I think in fairness to Kesha, I was once dancing at a Halloween party in the Boom Boom Rooms in New York, dressed as a cowboy with some beautiful woman wearing assless chaps. And I had no idea who she was. And maybe it just shows you how gay I am. But it was Emrata. I don't even know her name.
Sure. Emily Ratajkowski.
Yes.
Oh!
So I'm also the worst person in the world when it comes to actually identifying these people in the flesh.
You need two people behind you like Miranda Priestley with a binder just shouting the names of the people you're approaching into your ear.
That is my dream. Kesha was very lovely. It was a very, very short interaction, the incidents that we're referring to.
The incident.
Yeah, I kind of felt, you know what, like I get a good sense of people. And I'm, in that very moment, I felt like, and I guess this is a true reflection of where she's at in life, is it was kind of her coming back into the world, her coming back to the limelight, into rooms full of people who were in the industry. And you could kind of sense she was a little bit nervous, and a little bit kind of like, she kind of didn't know what to do with herself was my read of it. She looked well. That was it. That was their interaction. But I felt, that's interesting. I wonder where she's at. But I did see her. So she performed at West Hollywood Pride last week.
And I knew that.
I was there and she was fantastic.
I bet.
And I think she was on the Friday. Was it the Friday night? Anyway, Kylie headlined on the Sunday. She was on the Friday. And everyone was like, oh, Kesha's performing. That'll be interesting. But she blew the house then. She was brilliant. She came back with a bang. And it was her first show as a free woman. And the song she sang was Freedom, which apparently is going to be her new single. And the crowd loved her.
Huh. I can't believe they had Kylie and Kesha for West Hollywood Pride. You know who we had this year? Like Joy Behar. Like, what is going on with NYC Pride?
I don't even know who that is.
She's the old lady on The View. She sounds like me and Chris.
Basically, if you took my DNA and Dominick's DNA and put them in like a collider thing that would shoot them out like into a beam, that would be Joy Behar.
We are Joy Behar.
I would pay to see that.
So my first exposure to Kesha Rose Siebert, I would probably be what most people's were, which was her massive 2009 single TikTok, which at the time was the best-selling digital single in history. It no longer is because that was a while ago, but that was sort of a big moment for her. She sold 14 million units, as it were, of the song. And she became like a monster star very quickly in like the era of Gaga and several other like Ariana, like up and comers of that time. Like she was in the zone for real.
She was, yeah, came up, and despite like what you want to say about like her music or what it was or this or that, when she started, her Rihanna, like Gaga and like Ariana Grande, like, and like that, like Katy Perry, like they were all seen as peers. Like she was in that group of like those people, which I feel many people nowadays will not say that. But like when she started with TikTok and what were the other ones?
Blow
was a great one. Timber's more is like a newer one. First album, We Are Who You Are, like those songs, like I was in college.
Love Is My Drug. There's an actual, Kesha has a catalog.
Yeah,
it needs to be said that there is an actual catalog here.
But we also have to preface it with the reason why she's kind of like fallen by the wayside and isn't amongst those people anymore is because she got caught in a decades long legal battle. Like, I mean, that's an absolute nightmare.
Insane. We will get into that more, but it took the toll on her career. Like if Dr. Luke didn't fuck her career up so much, what was it going to be? You know what I mean? Like what would it have been?
Well, the thing that's funny is I was reading a little bit about, because I was like, let me like be correct on the facts of this legal case. And her album Warrior, which was the one with, what was the big song from Warrior? Oh, and Die Young. Remember Die Young?
Yes.
Is that the song you're thinking of?
That was the big one. No, it's a different one. But the song Die Young was the big like top 40 hit of the album. But that album was the one where she basically was like, I've had no creative control over this album at all. It was just Dr. Luke that basically did whatever he wanted, and I just had to do it. And I will say, every single song on it is amazing, which is like, I don't want to admit, but like, I was going through and just playing like the first 30 seconds of every song, and I was like, great song. Oh, that's a great song. Oh, that's a great song. Like every single one, I was like, oh, it's like banger after banger after banger. Like as a full album, like as you listen through it, it's amazing. Like truly great. And even at the time, so much music was in that vein of like, Where Have You Been by Rihanna, that was like, oh, this is going to be dubstep for no reason. Or like, we're going to have all this techno weird bullshit that like nowadays, if you put a song out like that, everyone would be like, what the fuck is this? It has that vibration of that dubstep era that it's in, but like completely not in a way that makes it feel like outdated. Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes total sense, but it's really unfortunate because I don't know if you watched, well, actually, I'm sure you both did, the Katy Perry documentary on Netflix.
I sure did.
And so what really struck me when I watched that at the time was the fact that she, was signed to this record label who really didn't know what to do with her. So rather than releasing her and letting her go off and find her path, they wanted to kind of suffocate her. Well, we don't know what to do with her, but we're not releasing her so you can have fun and make her a success. So we're just going to keep her here where she's safe and she's not a threat, right? Which was basically what happened. Now, obviously, in Kesha's case, there was a legal battle and all sorts of things going on, and we don't know the ins and outs of it. But only for this particular, I think it was it an attorney, someone in the industry who kind of saw Katie's plight and helped her get out of that restricted contract that she's in. She could be Kesha. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. And that's what happened to JoJo. Remember JoJo, not JoJo Siwa, but JoJo.
Yes.
Like she was stuck in her record label for like 2 decades, and there was no way out of it. And she basically like had to, for a very long time, just be nothing. And like she could be an A-list celebrity today if that wouldn't have happened to her.
So randomly, I also met her in a very brief interaction.
Love JoJo.
Yeah. A little later last year, I was at a very, very small intimate concert by Imagine Dragons, and JoJo was there. And I was chatting to JoJo, and I'm like, is that the same JoJo? Turns out it was the same JoJo. Very lovely. But I think she does really well writing music. I think she's got she's got like this amazing publishing career. So she does well.
Her voice is so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you go back and listen to like Too Little Too Late or like Leave, Get Out, like when you actually hear her singing and she's like a 15-year-old girl, you're like, this would have been like a grown woman, like that we would have been like, wow, this is the best singer ever. Like she's like basically Ariana Grande, like, and like her voice is out of control. And it's I mean, Kesha, many people were like, she's the auto-tune queen whenever she first came out because all her songs were so that was what music was at the time, was to be auto-tuned and really different. And she had all kinds of weird things happening with her voice. But everyone that, just like you said at Pride, like everyone that sees her says like she actually is a really good singer.
Right. Like
which
everyone
is sad
I know
because,
who's seen her perform live, even before this, has said the same exact thing. Like, don't sleep on Kesha, don't sleep on Kesha. And we're like, she's in our lives for more than 15 years now, and people are still saying that, which leads me to my first point, which is, I don't know who she pissed off or how she was marketed, but in that time period, before we even knew anything about this Dr. Luke moment, I'm struggling to think of another word, but I'm going to have to say the one that I felt like was planted in my head, was that of this whole group upcoming, she was the trashy one. Like she was, I don't know if she was marketed that way or if her enemies leaked that she was, or if she was leaned that way by media that didn't support her. But she was always sort of like the black sheep of that group. Killed it all, numbers wise, was killing it and killing most of them actually when she was at her hottest. But it wasn't until I listened to Rainbow, which I think was in 2017 or so.
That's the album that's in response to like her not being able to get out of
This
her.
was the first comeback, right?
Yeah.
Like, so to speak. And I listened to it and I just thought, I don't know why that album didn't like win more awards or make more noise, but that was one of the best albums of that year. I don't know why I even carved out an hour to listen to it, because I wasn't quote unquote a Kesha fan, but I sort of became one after that because it was good. She was just good and solid.
When I hear that, it kind of makes me feel that there are actors at play trying to suppress her, you know?
100%. The same people that would have marketed her improperly 8 years before that. You know what I mean? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah. But what I will say is that she did get attention early on because her whole thing was like, I'm on a bender. I'm a club kid that's like on drugs. Like her thing was being like, again, never forget, like the first lines that she says in her first song is, which doesn't age well now. And I saw her perform it, and she says, it's wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy, but she says wake up in the morning like fuck P. Diddy is what she said in the recent performance.
Oh, I love that.
Wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy, got my glasses, I'm out the door, gonna hit this city. Before I leave, brush my teeth with a bottle of Jack. Like that's literally the third line of her most famous song. So it's like, and then
so you're saying that she herself is the one that made me think these things.
It's in her music that she's this like, and it kind of like you know who like kind of also does this, but in an adult way, is like Pink, like writes all these songs about like being a misfit, you know what I mean? And being like, and also being like in the circus, ? But like she does this like being a misfit, being kind of like the kid that like is an outsider that then finds like a group at a queer bar that's down the street from their little, like a lot of her old original songs are all about like drinking in these queer bars and like being with all these other misfits. And so I don't know. It's just always very like,
sure. I think it was further than that though. I just remember thinking, I don't remember hearing good things about her. And that was also like a peak, you know, Perez delisted, and I don't want to lump Perez in with the other, but you know, it was a peak moment where she was one of the guinea pigs, you know, I mean, in that same group.
She was a party girl.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. She was drinking a bottle of Jack, like in the club as everyone saw her, and then performed.
You think she really was brushing her teeth with it? That sounds so unhealthy to jam sugar into your gums like that.
But I think that's what it was.
Kids.
Like,
but I love that for her.
Yeah,
I think she's genuine. She's coming from a real place. Sure. Katy Perry has that song where it's like, you know, shout out to all the kids who spend the rent money on the valet or something ridiculous like that. And I'm like, you never did that. You were like a little, like Jesus evangelical child.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Right.
Well, and that's the other thing is like, Katy Perry is just like whoever we want her to be tomorrow, she'll just be. Like, she has no real identity, in my opinion. Whereas like Slam, but true. But like, whereas like Kesha, like she got the fame that she got because everyone was like, look at this girl that like in the music video, she wakes up in a bathtub, like, cause she's like waking up from being blackout drunk. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that was the thing, was like being a partier, and like that image of being trashy was like what set her apart and got her attention. Rather than just being another, like, I mean, there was a million girls just like her in that era that didn't ever have anything but one single.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like my having a negative view of her was programmed. It's possible that I got my first taste of this Dr. Luke coverage maybe slanted against her. I wonder if that's possible. I'm trying to think.
The reason for that is because in the biggest like thing that kept this Dr. Luke, well, let's just unpack it really quickly. She comes out eventually and says, "Hi, I'm being held hostage by my label." And also she alleges that Dr. Luke was sexually abusive to her and like physically abusive, emotionally, everything abusive, giving her drugs, making her do drugs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She alleges all this in a lawsuit. That like he is making her do all these things and is abusing her. But to get out of her management company that she was in before him, basically she wanted to leave who she was with to go with him. And she did a taped deposition in, I believe, 2011, where they asked her, does he abuse you? Does he do this? Does he do that? And she says, no, 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 no. So they have her on record saying, no, he doesn't do this. So then like so many years later, when she does say he's abusive and he's horrible and I want to get out of this, they're like, well, here's this footage we have of you that says that you don't say this, like that you're saying that this is not true. So which is it? Which really hurt her case. And so I think that was in a very early thing, was like, well, she's on tape saying, like, she's lying again to get out of her contract kind of a thing.
Right.
But however, every single person that didn't like Dr. Luke, that was from Kelly Clarkson to Miley to whoever, all was like, free Kesha. You know what I mean? And like they came out like Kelly Clarkson was like, she's like, I'm not going to say anything bad about Dr. Luke, but what I will say is that like, I have nothing nice to say about him or something like that. Like it was like something so cunty in the best way that was like, this man is a monster, et cetera, et cetera. And like everyone kind of got behind her and it was like back and forth for a very long time. Up until last year.
Well, yeah, they only settled just a year ago. They settled it. And all this nonsense started in 2014.
Like that's a decade of her life. Like she's a young woman. That's a long time to be manacled. And the way I kind of think about it is, you know, regardless of what went on behind the scenes, if you've an artist who, for whatever reason, isn't happy, I think both parties need to somewhat amicably or adult draw up plans to be able to exit that relationship, because no one wins. If you're in a relationship, you know, work relationship, personal relationship, any type of relationship where you're feeling not valued or abused or whatever the situation is, obviously they're very different. You know, it's in everyone's best interest to be able to exit, because you're not going to create. And that's clearly what happened to her. 10 years of her career was gone. I'm sure it's very stressful. I mean, the big question is, can she make a comeback?
Yeah, I mean, is she capable of it? There's no doubt. Like Rainbow to me was the comeback. I didn't really, you know, I know that every time, she's not one of these artists who every time she does something because of the Dr. Luke thing, it's just going to be considered another, oh, she's back again. She's coming back. This time I mean it. But she's so young that she can absolutely do it. Like 37 is nothing.
She can, but no, I said she can.
I thought you said, is she tan?
Is she tan?
Why on earth would anyone care? You think,
well, I will say,
sell in Malibu? Why are you asking?
You're such a. I will say that her most recent album from last year is still under Kemosabe Records, which is Dr. Luke's record company. So, like, I don't know how long this is going on, but like, I think maybe she's finally out.
She's finally out now, because actually her performance at WeHo Pride was her first performance as a free woman, as she said it. She wore a jacket that had freedom on the back of it. First new music. So anything up until this point, anything released up until, you know, the beginning of this year is not free Kesha. From here on out, we're looking at
got it. So she's at the precipice, actually, is what's because that's the thing, is like he still makes all the money off Rainbow. Like, you know what I mean? It's like all these other albums, she then put out one in 2020 and then she put out one in 2023, and those are all still under Kemosabe. So like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
which, you know what? It's like, if this was all happening, wouldn't you just be like, just leave, just go. Let's just go.
That was my point. That's exactly that's the point I was making. I'm like, what is the point in keeping someone?
Exactly. It's all for the money. Yeah.
Right, like, I know, but come on, like, life is short, you know, move on. So it'll be really interesting to see what she does next. And if she can reignite that flame, I mean, she's got a big fan base. If the WeHo Pride gays were anything to go by, I mean, there's certainly a big appetite for it. I just don't know if that resonates outside of West Hollywood.
No, it's people my age, like my generation. Like if you play "Your Love Is My Drug," we all would sing it at the top of our lungs and know every word. And I haven't heard that song in 10 years. And I would be like, I would be the happiest person alive to hear it, and like in the club dancing.
You know what
I mean?
needs? She needs a moment like, oh my God, what was the song?
A Moment Like This by Guy
I knew you were going to say that. She should re-release that.
Yeah, I know.
No, she needs one of those songs to be basically go viral on TikTok, and that would reignite her career.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who was the song? And it wasn't. It's an old song, but it was featured in *Handmaid's Tale*, and it's British artist going back from the 70s. Oh my God, help me here! I know her. I love her. Kate Bush. Do you remember the Kate Bush song?
Oh, Stranger Things. You're talking about?
Yeah, it was on Stranger Things. Yeah.
Like Kesha needs a Stranger Things moment or the equivalent.
Oh, that's a good fix. Honestly,
she
it's
needs
like
TikTok to go viral.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing is like, why is she not suing TikTok to be like, you stole this name from me? Like, do you know what I mean? It's spelled exactly the same
because it's Dr. Luke's.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's not even hers.
She is at top 10 singles on Billboard.
What are they?
TikTok,
okay.
Right Round with Flo Rida, My First Kiss with 3OH. I don't know, I'm old.
Yeah, 303.
303. That's what that's supposed to say.
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
They're extinguished.
And well, we've never heard of them since. So
they were perfectly in that genre of like dubstep pop. Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Your Love Is My Drug.
Great song. Blah blah blah. Great song.
Take It Off. We Are Who We Are.
Wow.
Blow.
Wow.
Die Young and Timber with Pitbull.
Yeah, Timber.
10 top 10 singles. That's a catalog.
One thing's for sure. Like, even if she doesn't bring out music that's going to have the success of her previous success, she will tour the world playing Pride for Here and Forevermore with her back catalog. Because, or she'll find some European lineage and represent some obscure country in the Eurovision.
I think she's too big for that. I think she's too big for Eurovision. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sorry to say.
I don't know. That would be a key. I don't know.
I think so. You got to remember, most people don't realize this, but the Eurovision has the single biggest TV audience on the planet, bigger than the Super Bowl.
Wait, Kesha also she co-wrote Till the World Ends, the Britney Spears song. Which I did not know.
Yes. And then there's a version where it's her. Is there a third person on it? It's Britney, Kesha, and Nicki Minaj.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. And that was like peak that era of music, like when Nicki Minaj is becoming a humongous star. Like Nicki Minaj is the biggest rapper alive at this point. And then Kesha's huge. Britney's fine. Like that Femme Fatale album comes out from Britney and everyone loves it. And that's like Kesha was like, she's at the top of the pyramid at that point when all those music.
She wrote songs for Ariana. She wrote songs for Miley.
Yeah.
She's a big deal. This feels like a fall. This was too far of a fall for someone this talented. It feels orchestrated. And look, despite like my trashy words at the beginning, but I think that it feels like the way I feel about her, I was forced to feel this way about her.
No, but Dominic, that was her image. Like I could have you didn't need to say, I would say trashy, and I like love all her music. Like that was her image, was to be trashy. Like I swear to you. Like she would always wear glitter on the red carpet. She would like look like she just rolled out of bed. Like that was her whole persona, was to be like, I'm on a bender. Like on purpose. I promise you. I know you feel bad that you said it, but it really like
no, I don't.
She would do her makeup smeared on purpose to be like, oh, I'm in 3-day-old makeup.
I'm trying to articulate. No, I'm not. I don't want to back away from saying it, but like that level of trash, yes.
Yeah, like you're a fan. I remember, you're into it. Yeah.
But it was about her as a person. Like I don't want to name any other female stars who we trash regularly, but like who I just have a negative view of.
Sure.
As a person, I'd never have a negative view of someone, an alcoholic with smeared makeup, because, you
look in the mirror every day.
So, but you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I was supposed to have a bad opinion of Kesha.
Sure.
Someone wanted me to.
Sure. I mean, she did get ripped apart with like the outside of like the MTV world, like she did get kind of ripped apart by a lot of people being like, this is like horrible. You're a horrible, role model for kids, blah, 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 that kind of a thing.
I'll tell you what, too. I probably had a negative view of her early on because she had a symbol in her name at the time where the S was a $.
Well, do you know why?
Which is, I don't know why, but I know that typing up blogs and other like shit about her, and it was annoying to me that I had to do that. Pink similarly annoyed me the years that the I was an exclamation point. It's like, this is unnecessary while I'm typing this.
Well, the annoying thing as well, when you try and find Pink in your Spotify playlist, it oftentimes didn't come up.
Yes.
The I, and I'm getting no results. So I'm like, well, that's bad for business.
Yeah. And like, why? So, that was when we did stuff like that. She had a $sign in her name because she was on that song Right Round with Flo Rida, but she wasn't credited at the time. And I'm pretty sure it's that song. It was the number one song on the radio. Like she was at number one at the billboards and she was broke because it wasn't featuring Kesha. She'd got like $0 from it. And so she put the $sign in her name because she was like, I have to like, that's like a symbol of like, I already got
remind them to pay me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is,
remind them to pay me.
The thing about it is, it's like when we listening to all this, I mean, you've got to hand it to that girl. She's got grit and determination because it's not an easy industry. And she has seen, by the sounds of it, the ugliest parts of it. Like she's been stuck in the bowels of a horrible industry that's trying to keep her down. And she isn't staying there. And I admire that.
Yeah, she's a whistleblower. Like she feels like for that time period, especially, she was a whistleblower. I wonder how much we're even allowed to say or speculate. I mean, Dr. Luke still works, right? They settled all this out of court, but
they settled it all out of court.
He's a player still,
yeah, but
right?
He's also like one of the best. Like he's like he's up there with like Max Martin. Like he's like you know what I mean? Like this isn't some random producer. Like he's like has full people's entire careers in his hands. You know what I mean? Like he's powerful.
But they did walk away. I mean, I kind of glanced over the statements and both statements. So basically, no one accepted like liability or culpability on what the defamation case was involved. And they both have separated and walked away. So, they're both holding on to their innocence.
Yeah, he did not let go even a little bit. Like he was not, there was no loosening of the reins. And again, only the two of them know the truth. So you don't know how calculated that was, etc. But we're a Believe All Victims podcast. So we're gonna
yes, absolutely.
We're gonna stick with our but I'm sort of surprised that
he wasn't like Harvey Weinstein.
Well, kind of, because people accused of that sort of thing. Maybe if she had accused him of it 3 years later, his career would have been over.
Though?
I don't know.
You know what it is? It's very different. The music industry is still such a very big question mark to, I feel like, the average American person. Whereas the movie industry, we glorify these directors so much and they're such a huge part of it. Whereas like a music producer, like if you showed me a picture of Dr. Luke, I would have no idea what he looked like.
I just pulled him up because I had to know. Yeah,
like,
I had to know.
But if you showed me a picture of, I don't know, who's a director?
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese. Like
Benjamin Affleck.
Sure. Jennifer Lopez. Yeah.
Dude, what has she directed?
Her own film, Dominic.
Oh my God. This is me eye rolling. Go on.
Yeah. But like, how many directors do we know them by? And we've heard them do interviews on like Oprah and fucking Entertainment Tonight. You know what I mean?
Like it's that Grammy for Best Producer is a big one and no one knows any of the people.
The person goes up and you're like, okay. Like if he was more known in that way, it would be bigger. That is my like
visually. Like if he's someone we would know at Rite Aid, he would probably be in a lot of trouble. Societally.
Sure. Correct.
But I think that's intentional. I think all these music producers are very clever and they're like, oh my God, I've seen what like life is like for all you superstars. I'm happy just taking the check. I'm working behind the scenes. Thank you very much. Hey.
Yeah.
They can also do sleazy things like photographers like the old 70s photographers that are all accused like of
like blackmailing people.
Dozens of sexual assault.
But yeah, I mean, it's really sad because she's really talented.
So talented.
I'm mildly stumped. I will say I'm choosing between two sort of not A+ moments for her, but
yeah,
I do like that she's giving us a leg up by sort of being on the upswing anyway. Like if she's just released her last Dr. Luke album, this is like these next 12 months are the most crucial of her public face.
Are we there?
Huh.
Do you need a minute?
I'm just trying to think of a name for the theme restaurants that I want her to open.
I can know that you want. Kesha's bottle of Jack. That's
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm fully ready. Christopher, please fix Kesha Rose Siebert.
Kesha Renee Siebert.
I've already bastardized her.
Hassan and I were talking about this earlier because we were going through her music. And so he is featured on this fix, featuring Hassan. And what I think Kesha needs to do is she needs to record new versions of her famous hits, just like Taylor Swift did. And it needs to be like the first album was called Animal.
Yes.
Animal, in parentheses, Kesha's version. There's apparently 70 songs that she wrote for the album Warrior, which in my opinion is her best album, but he wouldn't let any of those there was like 12 that made it, and there's like 50 songs that she liked way better than the ones that she ended up writing on the album. She should just start releasing that entire album as Kesha's version, like the ultimate deluxe version, and just like fucking him over as much as possible, just like Taylor Swift did to, what is his name? Scooter Braun.
Yeah.
Because like, if I heard like Kesha was coming out with a 50 song album of all the songs that Dr. Luke rejected from the album that like, in my opinion, is her best work, and yet she was like, I had zero creative control over, that makes me want to go listen. Like I'm back in the Wikipedia page reading about the lawsuit. And that is the springboard to then her next album, which is like her first album as a free woman. Free Woman by Lady Gaga. And that is my pitch. I think it's Kesha's version. Like the Spotify charts just climb. Because when you look at Spotify, I was like looking at like how many downloads of her song or how many streams of her like most famous songs. Like they're not as like up as they should be, but I'm like, oh, because Spotify like didn't even exist yet when she was like popping in. You know what I mean? When she was like coming to fame, like Spotify wasn't around.
Yeah.
And so it's like she could get back there, you know what I mean? And get makeup. And like Timber.
That's the thing. She fell off so quickly when all of her other contemporaries were still cranking out music and not having lawsuits with their producers. And she missed out on a lot of stuff that all of these other female stars who are now they're influencers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that whole generation, they were able to capitalize on it. She never got the chance.
But like all that to say, like TikTok has 1 billion streams on Spotify alone. Like Timber,
TikTok the song has
TikTok the song,
streams,
TikTok on the clock, don't stop till whoa is 1.2 billion streams.
That's wild.
Like that's insane. Timber, the one with Pitbull, has 1.4 billion streams. Like that's crazy. And that is my pitch, I guess. Yeah, sorry. I needed to go down that memory lane a little bit.
No, that was a good one. Actually, about 30 seconds into it, I almost, for the second time in our program's history, forfeited. Yeah, because I think that that's such a good idea. I just think it's a great idea. I truly do. But, and I'm not taking away from your idea at all. I think it's absolutely genius. I have to believe that Dr. Luke has something in place where she can't do that. I will never be able to articulate what I'm trying to say, but I think you'll understand it.
Like a non-compete,
he's already
like of something. He
saw what Taylor did to Scooter. I think the moment that happened, he was probably like addenda everywhere. Like she can't ever do. But
like
I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea. I'm really not. But my pitch is obviously her releasing an album. And what's very important is that she write the entire thing. I think optics, like for her to be a free woman, it's got to truly be like as much her voice as possible. Obviously she'll have co-writers and stuff, but her name's got to be on every song because that is the brand. Like she's breaking free from a horrific 10-year odyssey where she has been raked over the coals. And obviously, I'm going to guess can't ever tell her full truth, because if they settled out of court, whether or not the did he or didn't he is sort of something we're never going to be able to get to the bottom of. And I think Dr. Luke's already taken care of that as well. But I do think that there is an album coming out in conjunction with a very thoughtful multi-part doc. But I want the doc to almost be edited quickly and air in like real-ish time while she does a smaller venue tour. Not an evening with, but sort of like what Madonna did with the Girly Show. Like, let's just scale it down a little bit so we can get closer. And you're sort of going to be meeting her for the first time here. You know what I mean? So it's sort of pedantic to say like, let's just do a rebrand, because she doesn't need to be someone different. She just needs to be who she always was. And we already saw the best parts. And now that she's in control of it, I just think that she should do like a smaller national tour and that we're in on it with her, you know, like Big Brother edit turnarounds, like make it an event, make her comeback tour, something we're all living in real time while we're listening to the album. And that's my pitch.
So I have to decide which one.
You have to decide between those two brilliant pitches. This is a Sophie's choice, Darren.
Well, I kind of feel there are many parallels between what you're both saying. The only difference really being is, Chris, you're saying that she tweaks music she's already created, her hits, and brings them out. And Dominic, if I've understood correctly, you're essentially saying similar strategy, but with new music that she's written herself. So I have to say they're both flawed. No. I think, you can't have one without the other. I think basically what we're saying is last time we saw Kesha in full swing was pre-digital music. Really.
Sure. Right.
Pre-Spotify, turning TV shows around quickly, TikTok, etc. She needs a good team in place who are ready to embrace the new media. So both ears have wheels, have legs. It's about her team. But do I still need to make a choice?
Yeah. And we won't be upset if you don't pick us.
We won't. Unless you're that torn. I mean,
unless you're like, you really can't do it. Yeah.
Well, I just think,
occasional tie or combination.
Chris, I loved your idea, but I just don't think it's a runner because he owns the music, hence why she's had her hands tied for the past year. So with that in mind, Dominic, let's do it.
Oh, Darren, God bless you, first of all, and thank you. I have not won an episode in several weeks, and
yeah, you broke my winning streak. He
deserved it though. Some of these ideas that won, you'll hear, they're not good. They're terrible. No, I'm joking. They're all Chris is brilliant.
So all those women who got behind Kesha, like Kelly Clarkson, all those people who were like, we're here for you, Kesha. They now need to put their money where their mouth.
Yeah, they do.
And when her new music comes out, if we don't see that support across the board, well, that's the true telling.
Yeah, she better be on the Kelly Clarkson show, and Kelly Clarkson better be singing like, I don't know, TikTok. TikTok on karaoke.
I bet Kelly will not sing anything Dr. Luke owns, though. It just seems like she'd have to.
Well, no, I think since you've been gone, he wrote.
He did not.
I think he did. I think he did. I think that's where they worked together. Did Dr. Luke?
Oh, it's like
right.
Just seemed appropriate.
Yeah.
He did.
Since You've Been Gone is a song recorded by American singer Kelly Clarkson for her second studio album, Breakaway. The song, which was written and produced by Max Martin and Dr. Luke, was released. Yeah.
God, it's a 1-2 punch right there.
Yeah. You are right, Darren. It's like everyone better do a collect. Like there better be a Miley Kesha duet in this,
They need to lift her up. They need to lift her up.
And they'll all look good if they do so.
You know what? Maybe that's what she needs to do. She does an album of duets with all these women who are supporting her.
Yeah.
And you know what, too? Whenever I watch reruns of the Cher show, the 70s variety show, everyone's fucking friends back then. Like Cher, Bette Midler, Tina Turner, Elton John, they're all friendly with each other. And of course, you see like Taylor's squad and all that, but I would love to see like that whole group of women like Kesha, Katie, Gaga, Ariana. I know Taylor's too big at this point, but she was still, you know, of that moment. Like she was definitely one of the hotter artists of that time. I think they all,
I think
to
she
see
said,
them
like,
all as
free
friends
Kesha.
and out.
I think Taylor got behind her. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure she did, but I would love to see them all in some sort of like group performance or some festival or something. Like, wouldn't you just love to see them all sitting down? Oh, Super Bowl would be fucking great, Darren.
Oh, wait. Taylor Swift gave Kesha $250,000 after they were like, no, your like case isn't good. Like once she like lost, she tried to like file an injunction or something. She gave her $250,000.
Yeah.
To be like, here, you can like live off of this while you're like in court.
Wow.
Yeah, they really do. They all should like rally around her. That would be, and that makes them all look really good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Taylor Swift already looks good. She's going to be elected president.
No, sure.
someday.
But I'm just saying, like, it really does make them all look like if Miley, Taylor, and Kelly Clarkson and someone who Zila Maria River Red all like get
not put Britney in that.
Or actually, what they could do is they should all come together and create a record label. Run for women.
Wow.
And only for female artists. Now
That'd be fun.
Would be. And like almost like, do you remember what's Beyonce's husband's name again?
Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Hova.
Well, do you remember they tried to create
the uninitiated?
Yes. Was it? I think it was Jay-Z who had created Tidal, I think.
Correct.
Yes. And Kanye. Yes.
Exactly. To try and compete with Spotify, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine Kesha and a whole group of these women, Taylor, Beyonce, whoever, and they just went out on their own and they backed themselves and created their own record label. That would be quite a powerhouse move.
And a great reality show.
More importantly than anything else.
So,
well, we've basically fixed her thrice, if you will.
Yeah, she's got her pick. You're welcome, Kesh, if we may play that.
Kesh.
Darren Kennedy, thank you so much for being here with us. Tell everyone where they can find you and where they can listen to your podcast.
Oh my God, my absolute pleasure. Well, I guess the easiest place to find me is on Instagram, isn't it? It's at Darren Kennedy Official. And my podcast is available wherever you consume your podcast. It's The Number with Darren Kennedy. Actually, recently started publishing it on YouTube podcasts and it's gone down a storm.
Oh, good.
Really?
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip.
There you go. Thanks for having me on, guys. That was fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, we've had such a good time. Sir?
Dominick, where can people find you?
Oh, the website's domintary.com. The socials are at Dominick Pupa. Christopher, where can the listeners of this podcast find you on the World Wide Web?
You wanted to say whirlwind.
I did.
You can find me at the Chris DeRosa. You can find the show at Fixing Famous People. And you can find the Patreon at patreon.com/Fixing Famous People. I wish you both well. And as always, where's Shelley? Goodbye.